Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Halisa Putri Maulidha, and today we're going to learn reading with a poem as a learning media. So I'm gonna use Love's Philosophy poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley as our learning medias today. Before we start our learning section, there are 4 learning objectives. So after participating in these learning activities, students are be able to first improve their reading skill and vocabulary. Second, understand the meaning of words according to the poem. Next, understand the use of rhyming words in the poem. And last, understand the linguistic context of the poem. Next, we have indicator. So there are 5 indicators. The first one, student can describe what is poem. Next, student can describe what is rhyme. The third one, student can recite Love's Philosophy with a proper rhyme. And 4, student can find and apply difficult words in a day-to-day situation. And the last indicator, students can obtain the message from Love's Philosophy poem. So let's start the learning section by knowing what is a poem. So a poem is a piece of writing in which the words are chosen for their beauty and sound and are carefully arranged, often in short lines which rhyme. But how do we know it is a poem? So it is interesting to note that poems are a form of literature that can be identified without being read first. For example, we know an essay is an essay only once we've read it, but we can say this is poem just by looking at it. So what do they look like? So here are the features of the poem. A poem mostly the lines of a poem don't cross the whole page. The lines, sometimes but not always, are clustered on the left of the page. Often the lines are grouped into stanzas, and they have no specific length. They don't necessarily have punctuation or capital letters or even follow typical word order. Now this could very well be a description of a grocery list. At least my grocery list adheres to most of the above. But what makes it a poem and not a grocery list? It is the language, of course. So poems use figurative language instead of literal language. We use tools like rhythm and metaphor and symbolism to layer meaning in our poems to distill the essence of what we want to say. A rose is never just a rose, or it is. So, as I just explained, a poem is a piece of writing in which the words are chosen for their beauty and sound and are carefully arranged, often in short lines which rhyme. So, what is rhyme means? Rhyme is the repetition of syllables. Typically at the end of a first line, rhyme words conventionally share all sounds following the word's last stressed syllable. Rhymes are classified by the degree of similarity between sounds within words and by their placement within the lines or stanzas. So here are some classification of rhyme. First, I rhyme. So I rhyme is rhymes which only when spelled, not when pronounced. For example, truth, true, and rope. Next, we have end rhyme. So end rhyme is the most common type. It's the rhyming of the final syllables of a line. Next, we have feminine rhyme. Feminine rhyme applies to the rhyming of one or more abstract syllable. such as dicing and enticing. Next, we have identical rhyme. So identical rhyme employs the same word identically in sound and in sense, twice in rhyming position. Next we have internal rhyme, which is rhyme within a single line of verse when the word from the middle of a line is rhymed with a word at the end of the line. Next we have masculine rhyme. Masculine rhyme describes those rhymes ending in the stressed syllables such as hells and bells. So it is the most common type of rhyme in English poetry. Next we have monorhyme, that is the use of only one rhyme in a stanza. And the last one we have pararhyme, is poet Edmund Blanden's term for double consonant, where different vowels appear within identical consonant pairs. Next, what is rhyme schemes? So, a rhyme scheme is the pattern of sounds that repeats at the end of a line or stanza. Rhyme schemes can change line by line, stanza by stanza, or can continue throughout a poem. Poems with rhyme scheme are generally written in formal verse, which has a strict meter or a repeating pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. Rhyme scheme patterns are formatted in different ways. The patterns are encoded by letters of the alphabet. Lines designated with the same letter rhyme with each other. And now let's reread a poem. So I'm going to recite Love's Philosophy poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley, and after this, you guys have to follow to recite this poem by yourself. Okay? So, Love's Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single, all things by a law divine. In one spirit meet and mingle, why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven, if its disdain its brother. And the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth, if thou kiss not me? So based on this poem, we can see the rhyming words of this poem. So here are the rhyming words of Love's Philosophy poem. River with ever, ocean, emotion, single, mingle, define, time, heaven forgiven, another brother, earth, word, sea, and me. Okay, so rhyme scheme patterns are formatted in different ways. The patterns are encoded by letters of the alphabet. A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, H, and G, H. For example, so this rhyme is ABAB rhyme scheme, means the first and third lines of a stanza or the A's rhyme with each other and the second line rhymes with the fourth line or the B's rhyme together. So rhyming poems do not have to follow a particular pattern. Any number of new rhymes can be added to a poem to create ongoing patterns. Some types of poems are defined by designated rhyme scheme and fixed verses. For example, a Shakespearean sonnet is a 14-line poem that includes three four-line stanzas and a concluding couplet. The sonnet follows the rhyme scheme A-B-A-B, C-D-C-D, E-F-E-F-G-G. So this rhyme scheme and verse structure are unique to a Shakespearean sonnet. Here we have meaning of difficult words of Love's Philosophy poem. Mingle has a meaning of to be mixed or combined. Law divine has a meaning of the law of God. Tyne is archaic form of yours, and disdain is a feeling of contempt or scorn. Next, here is the message of Love's Philosophy poem. So Love's Philosophy is indeed a romantic poem as well as a romantic one. So it is a poem which gives the defined stamp to the notion of free love, the idea being to pursue our emotions and attractions of spirit at any cost. But Shelley expresses this idea using familiar imagery and keeps the argument plain and accessible. As chat-up lines go, it's expressed better than most. What is Shelley actually saying in Love's Philosophy? What is the argument of this book? In essence, it's a seductive poem, a poem of seduction, an attempt to persuade the female addressee to join with the male poet in an act of union, shall we say. So Shelley makes his argument by drawing parallels with other areas of nature. The fountains mingle with the river, and the river mingles with the ocean. They are happy to join themselves with something similar to them. They are all composed of water and yet distinct. The different winds mingle together in sky. Let me see the poem first here. So different winds mingle together in the sky or heavens, and this produces a sweet emotion. Indeed, it's not only natural but decreed by God that nothing should be single and that everything should meet and mingle with something else. This happens by divine as well as natural law. So, if this is so in nature, Sally pleads, then why won't the addressee mingle with him? Not how he isn't actually talking strictly about physical union here, but a spiritual joining. In the last line of the first stanza, he is lamenting the fact that he is not allowed to mingle with the addressee's spirit or time. Shelley continues this line of argument in the second stanza of Love's Philosophy. The mountains are so tall, they seem to kiss the skies or high heaven. Note his use of heaven here, combining the awe-inspiring or sublime majesty of nature with the divine once again. The waves of the sea seem to clasp each other, and so on. So his vision of two flowers as being shot like siblings is like an older boy asking a young girl out with him, telling her that she shouldn't hang out with her male sibling all the time, but should spend some time with other boys doing more grown-up things. But none of this is worth anything. Sally concludes if the woman will not kiss him. Not not how he begins by describing how the mountains kiss the heaven and ends by suggesting the idea of the woman kissing him. The repetition of kiss in these two contexts reinforces the idea that it would be perfectly natural for her to kiss him. Look, even the mountains are doing it to the sky. Similarly, the repetition of claps in the middle lines of this stanza brings together the disparate aspects of the poem. So, rhetorically, Shelley is using this cause to hammer home the idea that everything in nature follows the same law. And what's more, it's a law that is created by some higher power. We should perhaps be wary of ascribing this to the Christian God, because Shelley was an atheist who even got thrown out of the University of Oxford for co-authoring a pamphlet called The Necessity of Atheism. But like the other romantics, he was possessed of a pantheistic belief in divinity of nature. Okay, so after listening to the message of Lost Philosophy poem and after listening to all of my explanation, uh, here are some questions to be answered. So the first question is, who is the narrator addressing in the poem? A. His wife. B. A woman or the objective of his affection. C. His lover. And D. God. So I'll give 30 seconds for you to answer before we jump to the next question. Okay, finish. The second question. Percy suggests that love isn't just natural, but it is also what? A. Heavenly. B. Normal. C. Godly. And D. Unnatural. Another 30 seconds for you to answer this question. Okay, so next, question number 3. What does each stanza ask? So, a rhetorical question, an open question, an ultimate question, or a closed question. Next question. What does he describe as being God's law? A. Nature is connected in an intimate and loving way. B. Nature is unconnected. C. Nature is unpredictable and random. D. Nature is connected in an unloving way. Last question. Why is the poem tightly structured? A. Because his love is in return. B. Because he doesn't understand nature. Or C. Because his love is intense. Okay, that's all for the 5 questions that have to be answered. And also, this is the end of our lesson today. So for next week homework, you got 2 homework. The first, you have to write the summary of the poem Love's Philosophy, and after that, you have to write a paragraph about the lesson you have learned from this poem. This homework will be submitted for next week, and we will going to discuss again for next week. Okay, so I think that's all from our meeting today. I hope you can understand easily. I'll end this lesson by saying Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for listening.